Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Imanizat bin Mazuki. Today I would like to present about BIM training gaps prohibit Malaysian quantity surveyor from adopting the technology. What is BIM? BIM is an umbrella term for creating and managing information for a built asset. It integrates structured data from multiple disciplines to build a digital representation of an asset throughout its life cycle. BIM as a process that collecting and managing data about projects from pre-construction to post-construction phase, creating a 3D, real-time, and dynamic building information model. Training for BIM implementation is teaching knowledge, skills, and competences to individuals or groups to improve performance. Importance of BIM training is to prepare professionals with the skills needed to effectively use BIM software and implement BIM methodologies. There are two research problems which are the implementation of building information modeling BIM in consultant firms is affected by poor level of workmanship and building, and most of the professionals do not get proper training in using BIM. From the research problem, I have come up with two research objectives which are the training gaps that prevent Malaysian quantity surveyor from using BIM and identify training needs for QS in Malaysia. For literature review, the first one is gap analysis. It compares existing conditions, performance, practices, or capabilities with objectives, benchmarks, or industry standards. Next, level of detail or LOD in BIM is a framework that conveys the level of complexity and quality of information contained in a BIM model at various stages of a construction project. LOD skill ranges from 100 to 500. There are many examples of BIM software, for instance SketchUp, Revit, and Glodon. Next, BIM training in Malaysia. The objective of BIM training programs is to provide knowledge and skills to apply to BIM. For instance, my BIM Center that collaborate with CIDB to provide affordable BIM training programs. For methodology, I use quantitative method to investigate perceived knowledge on different BIM level and expected training needs in BIM. A questionnaire survey was used to collect responses from participants. The structured questionnaire was distributed to 50 QS professionals through Google Forms on WhatsApp, email, and LinkedIn. For the criteria, I'm looking for QS profession. He or she must have implemented BIM software and at least have experience in using BIM software. Now, analysis and result. For general information, the data shows that the majority of respondents are male, 67%, aged between 25 to 30 years, 27.3%, hold a bachelor degree, 61%, and have 5 to 9 years of work experience, 36.4%. The data shows that the lowest percentages are for females at 33%, individuals over 40 years old at 12.1%, those with a master's degree at 9%, and individuals with 1 to 4 years of work experience at 30.3%. Majority respondents have experience in using BIM. There are 22 people with 67% have 1 to 5 year experiences. The data shows that the most common levels of detail LOD in BIM are LOD 200 and LOD 300, each with a frequency of 10 and a percentage of 30.3%. The least common is LOD 100 with a frequency of 2 and a percentage of 6.1%. LOD 400 and LOD 500 are in between with frequencies of 8 24.2% and 3 9.1% respectively. For reliability tests, it shows that the results are trustworthy because Cronbach's alpha is more than 0.6. Now, perceived knowledge on BIM. The chart suggests that respondents generally have a good understanding of BIM, with the highest scores in ability to implement BIM in different LOD and pass BIM training on different LOD. However, there is room for improvement in areas such as understanding of different LOD for QS, clarity of different LOD in BIM guidelines, and quality of different LOD in past projects. The highest mean score 3.97 was for the understanding of LOD and the quality of BIM models. The lowest mean score 3.85 was for the clarity of BIM guideline. The standard deviation are relatively high, suggesting that there is a fair amount of variation in opinions on these topics. Overall, the respondents seems to have a positive perception of BIM. Next, expected training needs in BIM. From the chart, we can see that the most essential training topics include BIM cost estimation, BIM project budgeting, and BIM work scheduling and sequencing. These areas are critical for successful BIM implementation, and organizations should make sure their teams are adequately trained in these areas. The highest mean score is 3.85 for training in BIM cost estimation at LOD 400 meets my needs, suggesting that participants perceive this training topic as most relevant to their needs. The lowest mean score is 3.06 for training in BIM work scheduling and sequencing at LOD 300 to 400 meets my needs, suggesting that participants perceive this topic as least relevant.